Hi, Suzy. How are you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Is it working?
I think it's on now.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, good.
Pretty good, pretty good. Yeah, wow, what a crowd. Yeah. Thanks for coming.
So I'm sure I speak for everyone when I say it's a real honor having you here answering questions directly from our community. So along with submissions from the audience here in Paris, we're also taking questions from our viewers on YouTube and our Twitter followers. Okay, let's get started with our first question. The first one is actually about how Binance celebrating its 5th anniversary with users.
Well, I mean, thank you guys for coming. We're celebrating together with yourselves. I think, yeah, the crowd is, I think the middle crowd already stood up, so I don't know if the back crowd can see us now. But I'm really honored to be here and really honored that you guys are here. And, yeah, so it's really moving for me to see, from 5 years ago till now, the progress we've made. And with your support, all the Binance Angels are here. I think let's give them a round of applause for the Binance Angels. And yeah, I mean, I actually don't exactly know what the program for today is. I just go where my calendar tells me to go. But I think this is a fantastic occasion. I will be around. We'll take photos, drink a bit. Yeah, we'll just chill out.
Yeah, I mean, people love you, especially when you're so close with them on Twitter and everywhere. It's really great to see that you're very close with our community members.
Yeah, I was just tweeting about the zero fee thing, but it's okay. That's under control, I think.
Okay, next we have a question from Lexi Skins from Twitter. What other features should we expect on Binance Exchange in the next couple of months?
Actually, again, I don't know the answer to that question, to be very honest. Binance team is about 6,000 people now. They all do different things, and when the feature's ready, we ship. So it's a very decentralized. We don't plan big announcements on specific days. So whenever something's ready, we ship it. And we have so many different products in our ecosystem. I don't know exactly what's coming up. But some of the things we do try to do in this we're kind of in a bear market now. In this type of markets, we try to make sure that we have the most reliable, most ethical, most fair, and most liquid platform. So been stressing to our teams that we want to make sure that our platform is stable as a rock. So that's one of the top priorities for us right now. And but there's still many innovations going on. I don't know all of them.
Yeah, and we can get very well prepared for the next bull run, right?
Yes, I think right now our plan is very simple. Our strategy is very simple. Everybody can know it. We're just going to keep our head down, build for the next 18, 20 months, or however long it takes. Markets go in cycles. We want to be ready for the next wave.
Just keep on building.
Just keep on building, yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
Next question from Shiraz Shaukat 13, Twitter. What difficulties did you face in developing Binance over the past 5 years, and how did you overcome them?
Well, that's what difficulty didn't we face in the last 5 years? So I think we're in a new industry. It's a technology field that develops really fast. It also has a financial aspect to it. So I think over the last 5 years, when we first started, not many regulators were looking at this industry. In the last couple of years, almost all of them are. But luckily also, we've been very lucky to see tremendous user growth in the industry. People understand this is a new technology for money. And if you're left behind on this if you're left behind from the internet, you're just not in touch with your friends a world away. And people understand that if you're left behind in this industry, you're pretty far from the money, which has some really interesting impacts. So yeah, I think dealing with fast growth, making sure the systems are stable, security, dealing with growing with the changing regulations, but most importantly, just organizing our internal team, growing at that phenomenal speed. There's a lot of challenges. So there's so many challenges. I don't think there's anyone that we didn't encounter. Luckily, I think we have a great team. We have great community support, and I think we've done okay so far. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Next one.
Thank you.
Next one from MetaPax.io. Which Webfree technologies do you consider important to develop first, and which would you like to see in the future?
I think that the industry is much broader now, so there's multiple fronts that we got to develop. On the centralized exchanges, we got to make sure that we continue to be able to handle the large volume of people coming in, and we continue to ensure that the system is secure, stable. In the decentralized world, I think the DeFi innovations are great. But the wallets, most for average, what we call normal people, most people are not able to hold their own coins securely. Yeah. So they don't know how to do backups. They don't know how to do inheritance. If one day, we most likely eventually will not be here. So all of those things are not taken care of. Even simple things, how do you prevent your computer having a virus and not losing your coins? So I think all of those things are important. And the new frontiers like NFTs, metaverse, how do we grow those? So I think it's great that in the decentralized ecosystem, everybody's working on something different. And it just progresses in a very decentralized manner. And we just want to be as supportive as we can from a platform point of view. So we want to support any initiative in this industry, including ones that compete with us. Even in the other exchanges, we have a lot of different products, so there will always be some overlap. But we want to support everybody.
Yeah, and support on different levels, as you said. Okay, thank you. Can you hear me? Okay. And support on different levels, as you said, because some of the... sorry, guys, can I ask you just to sit down, please? Just those who are standing, please, can you sit down? Can you just go and take a seat? Which one is vacant?
Or we can stand up. I think the guys can't see us.
It's going to be a long session. Really. Thank you.
Do you want to try standing up?
Sorry?
Do you want to try standing up?
No.
Really? We can stand up and they can see us better.
I think it's fine because they have the screens over there so they can see us. It's all good. I mean, people want to be close to you. It is good.
All right, yeah, we can continue.
Yeah, okay, just to sum up your last answer, basically we want to support development of any type of the ecosystem, and we start from the education, as you said, because many of the users, they don't want to hold their keys, or they don't understand why they need to have a hold of their own keys, and we're just there to support them to grow into that innovation. Next question from Mr. Wang28. Any plan for Binance to support some CeFi companies which are facing significant difficulties?
Yes, so we absolutely want to do that. In fact, our team's very busy looking at a large number of deals. The word bailout has many different meanings to different people. It has some negative connotations, some positive connotations. Fundamentally, just think about investing in projects. And today, now is one of the best times to invest in projects. So any project that's short on money, as long as the product is good, the team is good, all the fundamentals are good. If they're just short on money, why not? And now is the best time to invest. But it doesn't mean that we will invest in every single project on the planet. That's never how things work. So we're still selective about good projects. So today, I think now we actually heavily encourage the good projects who are short on money, who are short on funds. Raise your hand, come talk to us. But we doesn't guarantee that we will invest in every project, but the good projects will continue to invest. And this is the best time to invest because now the valuations are much more reasonable. Before any ICO, a year ago, every ICO project is valued at $50 million with no products, no team, not even a line of code. That doesn't work. But today we're seeing things are much more reasonable.
Probably this one. Yeah, totally agree. Again, this time is for builders, so we're investing in builders. Can I show BNB so they can buy BNB now?
I don't give advice like that. I will get in trouble if I do. So do your own research. Do manage your own risks. Do not FOMO. Do not. You gotta work with yourself. Don't get into greed, fear. Both two emotions are very common in trading. So and also manage your risk. The way I always tell people, the way I think about risk is a risk is a very individual thing. Somebody else doing something that you seem is risky may not be risky for them. And so the way I usually explain risk is for your investments, if everything went to zero, will your lifestyle still be okay? If the answer is no, then you have invested too much. Reduce the portions. If the answer is yes, your life will be fine, then it's probably okay. So use your own judgment.
Yeah, brilliant. Always important to remind.
Yes, and to be honest, my experience, the more you tell people to manage their risk, the more they actually they will hopefully act reasonably, but they actually almost never deter them their willingness to invest or etc. Yeah.
Great, thank you. Next from Loretta Crypto. How does a project qualify for listing on Binance? I think you even wrote an article about this on Binance blog, but maybe you can just share a bit more.
Sorry, what was the question?
How does a project qualify for listing on Binance?
Yeah, there's a blog post that's like 5 years old now. It's very simple. At a very high level, the #1 criteria is number of users. If your project have a large number of users, then you have created something valuable. So this is a utility value. If something's used by somebody, then it has a value. If that somebody is a large number of somebody, then you have good liquidity and you have a large value. So number of users is the main thing we look at. If you don't have users, then it gets quite a bit harder. Then we sometimes do look at project team background, product concepts, or even just the product itself. But all of those things are much lower chance. 90-something% of the weight is on just number of users.
Thank you. Clear and to the point. Next is from Luis Martirossi. How long do you think it will take for crypto to be fully regulated globally?
I think it's a black and white question. In real life, adoption goes very slowly, and then it ramps up, and then it slows down, and then it decays. So this happens for any company, any technology. If we think about internet, right now we're still kind of at this level. I think it will take many decades for it to decay. Something new may replace it. If we think about physical letters, it took a couple hundred years. So I think today we're still at the early adoption phase. And the early adoption phase is slow, but I think we're kind of crossing somewhere between 1% to 3% adoption. Once you reach 1%, but adoption grows exponentially. For something that grows exponentially, 1% is usually the half mark. So there's a very famous project called the Human Genome Project, where they analyze human genome using computer CPUs. They said the project will take 15 years to finish. By the 7th year, they were at 1%. And they said that's right on track, because computational power doubles every year. And then 1%, double, 2%, 4%, 8%, 16%, 32%, 64%, it's done, 7 years. So by the 14th year, they were done. So I think we're at the 1% adoption rate. So when will it get to, but once it gets to like 50, 60, 80% adoption, it will slow down again. Because the older generation, my mom's generation, they may or may not use this technology to the full. So we'll then have to wait for 20 years for the young 14-year-olds to become 35-year-olds, etc. So I think it's going to be a couple of decades for full adoption, but we're going to see some really ramping up in the short term for what people call crossing the chasm. From the early adopters to sort of slightly mainstream, we'll see the pickup. So hopefully that will happen. I'm not sure if I'm correct at all. I could be completely off. So, but that's kind of what I'm expecting.
So do you think if we get this 60-70% adoption, will we still be alive? Or it's going to be a decade for the generation?
Oh, I think we can reach, I think we will reach 40, 50, 60% adoption probably within 5 to 10 years. So we'll definitely see it. And then it will slow down a bit, but then you will be everywhere. So, I mean, the internet today is probably only 80% adoption. There are many populations in the world who doesn't use the internet. I mean, everybody in this room does. But my mom doesn't use the internet that well. Yeah.
Thank you. Next is from the CRIP 39392719. How can you ensure platform stability during this bear market?
So that's a very broad question. There's so many different aspects for stability. I think number one, people think about system stability, networks, servers. Those are technology related. We have some of the best scientists, technologists on our teams now. And we hire the best talent, the most senior talent from the traditional internet worlds, including companies like Google, Facebook, Apple, Tencent, Alibaba, etc. And those are the two really countries, China and the US, that have large internet applications. So they have applications that have billions of users, so they have this knowledge. But our application is actually more demanding than even Google and Facebook or Twitter. If you post a tweet and you don't see it for 30 seconds, you're okay. But if you post an order to buy and you don't see it in 3 seconds, the market moved, you will complain. And we have 100 million, 120 million users from every part of the world. We have users in Africa, Latin America, here in Europe, in Asia. They all need to go into the single matching engine because the previous order changes the price for the next order. And so we have to ensure global liquidity. This is a very challenging problem, but we got the smartest guys on the planet working on this now in Binance. Luckily, also our business is stronger than the traditional Web 2 businesses. So the Web 2 businesses per user revenue is lower than us. Per employee revenue is lower than us. So we can afford to hire their best people and to work for us. So we have some of the best minds working on the technology part. They can talk about the technology all day long. I'm no longer even fluent in the terms they use. They use different terms that I can't even repeat. And then there's the business side, ensuring that there's sufficient liquidity, making sure that we list coins that have high liquidity. So making sure that the different products with margin, leverages, etc. All of those needs to be managed. Again, we have very good specialists managing those. And the other thing is just always be transparent. Always look at issues. As soon as issues come up, we address it. Just be out there, be transparent, be responsive. So and also having a large user base like yourselves really helps with stability. Because the larger platforms do have the better liquidity, and where smaller platforms will fluctuate more with a large user base, we have much less of those problems. So so that's an advantage for a large platform. And lastly, an advantage for large platforms, we spend a lot more. We have the economy of scale. So we spend hundreds of millions of dollars on security each year alone. Smaller platforms just don't have the capability to do that. So, and now with a large platform, we have many users auditing us. Our code wallets are relatively transparent. If anybody follows a few deposits, you'll find our code wallet. So our reserves are there. We don't do fractional reserves. We don't do lending. We don't do a lot of lending to other people. We do not owe other people money. We're pretty stable. So we're pretty stable.
Yeah, that's great. And yeah, team in Binance is massive.
Actually, lastly, I would add the personality and culture matters too. So I do think I have a relatively stable personality. And also our team, we have very stable personalities. So we don't chase crazy stuff. We're very stable.
True. Next question is from Jamie Barker. Blockchain already has a wide range of use cases. Is there anything else you think blockchain could be used for in the future?
Yeah, I think anything, well, obviously, anything that has to do with a record, especially a record that requires authenticity, or validation, trust, can be used. So there's many different applications from, notaries, land titles, digital IDs, all of like everything that requires a trusted record can be used. But today, the blockchain, the first application we're dealing with is really just money. This is the first application, and this is already a huge application. This application is much bigger than the internet. The internet deals with information. The internet is was just a new technology to transfer information. That's all it is. The blockchain is a technology to transfer value, and this will have much bigger impact than the internet. So there's so many things to be done. We're just at the very beginning. But even the very beginning, the first application is huge. I don't see any other industry growing faster than this one.
Yeah, blockchain technology will never cease to amaze us. We have next section with live questions from the audience here. So Suzy, what's Binance's plan for the next 5 years?
I actually don't really know. My job is not to plan. My job is not to strategize. I don't come up with product ideas. I don't really drive things. It doesn't scale. I cannot do parallel tasking that much. So my job is really just to build a team. So get the best people on the team, making sure we have the right structure. The right structure might not be a rigid structure, but it's a combination of giving people freedom, giving people responsibility, hold them accountable, and making sure that we get the best people in the first place, and then let them do their job. So let them design products they want to design. I don't believe in top-down driven design anymore. That may have worked in like, I don't know, 10, 20 years ago in traditional industries where each company only have 1 or 2 products. But today, if we look at Google, Google has so many products. I talked to some of the very senior guys in Google, learned many of their lessons, and they just encourage innovation. Google has a 20% time projects. You can do whatever you want to do, and they came up with so much innovation. And we want to kind of follow that same model for Binance. Innovation comes from bottom up, not from top down. So we have many teams working on many different products, and some of them overlap, some of them compete, some of them collaborate. We just want to make sure that we have the right structure to promote that innovation, both on the sort of centralized. We have a large part of our business is centralized, so that's on the centralized exchange, and then also we have a large part of our ecosystem that's decentralized, and we contribute to that, and we want to support developers, projects there too. So it's just finding the balance in those structures and provide the maximum support that we can. So I don't worry about what kind of innovations we do. I just worry about getting the smartest people into the ecosystem, making sure that they have all the right resources, money, support to do what they want to do.
Supporting ecosystem that comes from bottom to up and just hiring the best people.
Pretty much. I mean, if you get the best people onto the team, they will do it. I mean, like if you hold them back and don't allow them to do it, they get pissed off and they leave. So when you get strong people, smart people, talented people, and passionate people, if people have all of those things together, they just do amazing stuff. Yeah.
Brilliant, thank you. Next question is from Binance Intern.
Sorry?
Binance Intern.
Ah, okay. We have a few.
How can someone get Binance merch?
Binance?
Binance swag, our t-shirts and hoodies.
So those are earned. We don't sell them. We're not a clothing store. We're not a logistics store. We give them out to our strong community supporters. So people who are in the community always supporting either us or the crypto industry, we give them out. It's free, but it can't be bought. It's priceless.
So guys, we're still giving some tokens for activities that you will be able to play after this AMA, and those tokens you can redeem for swag that we prepared for you. Next, from Giga Borek, Hi CZ, what's the main idea to start Binance really born during a hot pot dinner in Chengdu 5 years ago? Like how Binance was found and what was the story behind it?
So the Binance idea didn't come from the hot pot. We had the idea well, we were pretty much decided on doing a crypto-to-crypto exchange at the end of May in 2017. But at that time, we were thinking about raising money through traditional VCs. But June 14th, I went to a hot pot dinner with 500 people, like room almost this size. The idea of doing an ICO came from that dinner. Everybody was talking about an ICO in that dinner. Everyone was trying to do an ICO. A couple of things happened. So that was June 14th, 2017. From June 1st to June 10th, there was another ICO project ran by a friend of mine for a different cryptocurrency exchange. I knew him. We are decent friends. And he raised $15 million in 10 days with one website. And that's the first ICO that I saw. Even before this, I didn't really know what ICOs were. I was like, wait a second, if he can do it, we probably have a pretty good chance. The guy, he's reputable. He has some reputation, but at the time, the industry is much smaller. Much less people know me, but the industry is much smaller. In the industry, there's still enough people that knows me. So look, given our background, given our team, we can probably do it too. And the execution was key. So June 14th, got the ICO idea from the hot pot. So okay, no more VC, no more talking to VCs. Let's just do an ICO. At 11 p.m., I got back to my hotel. I sent a message to our team, said, Google the 3-word ICO. We're gonna do one, and let's start to write a white paper. We finished the white paper on June 17th, so 3 days later, and I started sending to my friends in the communities. The demand was strong. You can just feel it. Everybody wants to buy BNB. So from June 22nd, we did 5 sessions of ICOs. Each session, other than the first session, that our system crashed, so people couldn't buy. And people were complaining and everything else. But other than that session, every other session was sold out in seconds. And then by July 2nd, we finished last session, and then we said we're going to launch the platform on July 14th, 12 days later. This is a full-blown exchange, and we did that. So yeah, that's where we are. So June 14th the hot pot dinner was the ICO idea, wasn't exactly the Binance idea. Yeah.
I see. Thank you. Next from Hulis. What are your plans regarding sustainability?
So I think sustainability is extremely important, and that's why we should use crypto. If you look at any other asset, any other currency, $1 trillion asset requires much more energy than the Bitcoin's mining power to sustain it. It's just that those energy cannot be calculated. If you look at downtown of any major city, all the logos of the big buildings are banks. How much electricity does that require? I don't know. But it's not easy to calculate. Just because Bitcoin's electricity use can be easily calculated, it's very transparent, doesn't mean it's bad. I strongly believe that Bitcoin mining is far more efficient than any of the other costs used to manage any other asset type. And Bitcoin is just the beginning. We now have many blockchains that are 1,000 times more efficient than Bitcoin. The blockchain is the most efficient technology to organize money, to transfer value, to organize finances by far. So people are just misinformed. People make a big deal out of it, but they don't really understand. So and with this new technology, it's much easier to improve. And every step we improve, we can measure it. So if you use BNB today, very low cost, very low energy footprint, very fast, very scalable. So yeah, so I think sustainability is extremely important, and that's why we should use crypto.
Blockchain is solution for sustainability. Next one. If you were to employ someone, what are the qualities you seek and what's the priority for you in that person?
For hiring?
Yeah.
I think number one is like core competency. Actually, that's number two. Number one is passion. So if a person is not passionate about what they do or what they will do, then that guy's pretty much useless. In today's world, if you're not passionate, your worth is zero, at least to us. So this is why for Binance, we have some of the most passionate teams. And together with passion, the technical skills is important. Like the core skill, it doesn't have to be technical. It can be marketing, it can be customer support, it can be legal. The core competency is important. I think really those two things. If you get those two things, they generally work really well. So Binance works in a very distributed fashion. There's no way for 6,000 people spread around different parts of the world. Most people work from home. Working from home is fantastic. I mean, it's fantastic. It's very different in a few ways. You don't have to waste time commute. You don't have to get in a suit every day and sit at a desk for 8 hours or 12 hours or however long you have to work. Working at home, you can take a break if you want. You can take a 2-hour break. You can take a 5-hour break. You can take an 8-hour break. You can skip a day. Probably nobody would know. But guess what? If you skip a day every day if you skip a few days every day for I don't know, after a week, a month, or a quarter, we find out. It's pretty easy to tell if you're not producing results because results is the only thing we see. We don't see your working hours. We don't see anything else. So if you slack off, go for it. But 3 months later, we'll find out. And it's actually an easy way for us to find the bottom guys and push them out. Say, look, sorry, guys, you're gone. Find something else you enjoy. And so it actually makes it easy for us to identify who are the bottom performers because we give them that freedom. And the guys who are passionate, they work 24 hours a day, or basically. They get up, they work, and if they get tired, they take a break. And so the passion really compensates for it. So passions and core skills, that's it. And the rest of the work is on us. The rest of us is how do we structure our organizations so that they're efficient, they're productive. Working remotely has some challenges, but it also has a lot of benefits. And our business runs 24/7, so it's great to have that coverage around the clock. So there's a whole lot of advantages we can go through. And also hiring globally, working in a remote fashion, give us access to talent pool like nobody else before. Most other companies are limited to talent pool in one place. We can hire anyone, anywhere in the world, as long as they have an internet connection. Yeah.
Yeah, at Binance, you have to take ownership of your work. You can work at any hours you want, but you have to get your work done. We don't waste time in meetings. We just focus on the output, the result. Next question from Tian. Is Binance Academy working on educational institutions to offer official degrees?
Yes, we are. I think Helen was here on this stage a bit earlier. For example, we're working with multiple universities in France. We're working with multiple universities in Italy. We signed with at least 3 last time I heard, and we're talking with about 30 different universities. So we want to do courses, certificates. We also have a new program called Binance Scholarship, where we give kids scholarship to go into school with one added requirement: they have to pass a blockchain test. We want to promote blockchain. So education is one of the most important pillars, most important efforts in this industry, I believe. All the government officials I meet, they want to see us do more education. All the people we meet, they want to see us do more education. And education is the best way to protect from consumers falling into fraud, being scammed, losing money, doesn't know how to manage risk. All of this are important from the educational perspective. So I believe Binance is one of the players that have way more educational programs than anybody else. We have Binance Academy, we have Binance Masterclass, which is a classroom setting where we teach people about crypto. Binance Masterclass probably taught more than 600,000 users around the world in classroom settings. And then with the Binance Scholarship, Binance universities, etc. So we have a lot of effort on this front.
Knowledge is the power, so education is one of our priorities in Binance ecosystem.
Absolutely, yeah.
Great, thank you. Since we are celebrating our 5th birthday here together with the community, can you talk a little bit more what community means to you?
I think the community is everything, right? We live in a virtual, we are a virtual platform, we are online digital platform. The community is the value, users is the value. So this is why if we don't have users, we'll have nothing. We have zero value. If nobody is using our product, this goes back to the point of utility value. If your product's not used by people, then you have zero value. You can issue as many coins as you want. If no one's using those coins, they have zero value. So community is everything. And very few people, actually it appears that very few people understand the long-term value of communities. I think having a user, having you guys with us for 10 years, 20 years, 50 years will be much, much more valuable than anything else that we can get, than any short-term gains, issuing coin, etc. that we can get. That's the big value. So in Binance, one of the key values for us is protecting users. And we don't just talk about it. We actually take actions that, we make decisions that cost a lot of money in the short term for us, but we protect our users. So I can give you many examples, but I probably will not go into a lot of detail today. But I think most people here already know how we do that anyway. So, but we're very different from the other platforms. We put our users first and foremost, and I think that's what made us successful so far. Yeah.
Users at the core of everything.
Absolutely, yeah.
Thank you. Probably it's a similar question about Web3, but maybe you have additional insights how Binance will help to shape the world of Web3, maybe even this year.
Yeah, I mean, there's many things we can do. In the Web3 world, we'll continue to be, hopefully, a leader and lead the industry in healthy ways. Set a good example of how companies can protect the users, etc. We'll invest in other projects in the ecosystem, try to grow the ecosystem. Now we have a third strategy, which is invest in traditional businesses, existing businesses with large user bases, like Twitter, Forbes, help them to come into crypto. When they come into the Web3 world, the blockchain technology should give them new business models they probably did not have before. And that should make them stronger financially. And if that works, that will force all of their peers to have to adopt blockchain and Web3, and that will bring all the users into Web3. So we're doing all of these things at the same time. So yeah, I mean, it's a journey. It'll take time, but we're very consistent at it. Yeah.
Yeah, obviously, Binance was in ease one step ahead before those mainstream companies, and with the knowledge and experience, and as you mentioned, business models, Binance will help those companies and those brands step into Web3 world.
Yeah, I think traditional business will have to. Just like most traditional businesses have to step into the internet world. Bookstores either had a website that works or they don't exist anymore, well, most of them. And e-commerce, even publishing. So today, if there's a better technology for money that builds new business models that you don't use and your competitors use them, guess what? Your competitors are going to eat your lunch, right? The competitors are going to make more money than you do, and then they can grow faster than you do. They can invest more. So I think sooner or later, all the traditional businesses will be forced to use crypto, to use blockchain. So it's just a matter of time. Yeah. The ones that realize this early have such an advantage. So there's a little bit of risk, being the first mover. But today, most businesses are not first movers into crypto. Crypto is no longer a new technology. Like crypto has been here for like 12 years, 13 years. We're still at the beginning. But today today people come in and mostly second movers. Most people should not want to be last movers. Last movers usually do not end up well.
Are we still early?
I think we're still early. If you look at the internet, video conferencing kind of works, but it doesn't replicate the in-person experience. The virtual reality, the metaverse is not developed yet. So we're still early. Like the internet took like 30, 40 years. Still pretty preliminary. I think there's still a lot of development to be done on the internet, but the internet will grow at a slower pace than blockchain now.
Insightful, very insightful. Thank you, Suzy. What's the most interesting thing in crypto right now that not many people are talking about?
I actually don't know. I think crypto is pretty open, right? Like we're on Twitter all the time. People chit chat. There's not a whole lot that I know that other people don't know. I don't really know the new projects. I don't have time to sort of research into those areas. I think many of you people in the community knows that much better than I do. So I don't know anymore. I don't know any secrets that other people don't know. That's not my specialty. Yeah.
But how do you get to know about new trends developed in crypto ecosystem? Is it like from someone from Binance who comes with a new project, or it's something that you can see on Twitter?
Sorry, how do I know what?
New trends.
New trends. So I rely very heavily on our team. So we have teams looking at data, looking at different industry trends, and also when things are trending, you kind of even if you only look at Twitter, when things are trending, you kind of know. So if you follow the right people, if you kind of in the right groups, when things are trending, you kind of know. The other technique is to really follow the young people. The young people usually are the trend detectors. When all the teenagers are using Snapchat, you know that app is going to be successful. When all the young kids are using a different app, you know that thing's going to become more successful. So if you look at the young teenagers, most of them understands crypto now, and most of them want to have crypto. So yeah, it's pretty clear. So that's the different ways. I don't follow news, so I don't get first-hand information that much. But all the interesting things filter to me. So yeah.
Just follow the youth. Thank you. Next question from Tuan. How will BNB chain differentiate itself from competitors and will keep innovating?
Again, I actually don't know. I guess you guys hear that a lot, which is a little bit, I think that my suggestion to the developers that develop BNB chain is let's try to improve scalability. That's the main thing. That's the main thing from me, main request from me, but they may or may not listen to me. I think we also got to give them freedom to, it's their problem, it's their job, it's their baby. They should want to find ways to innovate. I can't think of innovations for them. My philosophy has always, personally, I've always been more involved in how to bring a technology to the mass. So less so much on the academic research prototyping side, where, for example, a few guys are very good at it. I think the clearest example is probably Andrew Cronje. He likes to prototype. I don't like to do that. I like to take a technology that's proven to work and figure out how to scale it, how to let 100 million people use it, how to let 1 billion people use it. How to make it highly efficient. So it's those speed, performance, and improvements, scalability, which many people don't think are innovation, but I think those are very tough innovations. It's very difficult to go from idea at a small scale to billions of people at scale. So that's what I typically like to focus on. And this is what I encourage, and this is what we like to invest in, and this is what we like to fund and sponsor. So those are the things that we can help. But exactly what they're doing, they talk about so much different stuff. They talk about dark pools, privacy, faster DEXs, layer 2s, interoperability, other stable coin. There's so many things to talk about. I can't even keep track of it. So I'm not that hands-on involved. I try to promote it as much as I can, but that's my job. but I'm not really in charge of the development direction or anything like that.
Yeah, BNB chain belongs to the community, and bring to more communities just need to keep on innovating scalability, improving user experience, and educating the masses.
Absolutely, yeah.
Thank you, Suzy. And we have our final question. How many selfies do you think you've taken in your life?
I'm actually not sure. Probably, definitely 4 digits. I'm not sure if it's close to 5 digits yet. Yeah, so talking about selfies, I think we'll set up an area for people who want to take selfies in turn. We have a very efficient process at this now. Our team's very good at this. You form a line, give your phone to the guy, and he'll take it. It's a very efficient, very fast process. We'll get through a couple hundred people in half an hour. So we don't need to rush. Selfie is the easy part. The harder part is when people try to pitch projects to me in a setting like this. It doesn't work. I won't be able to understand your project. I may not even be able to remember it. So please, no project pitches. Talk to our investment team. They'll sit down, take the time to understand it. Whereas I can't understand a project just based on a couple minutes of conversation. It just doesn't work. But happy to talk to anybody who wants to work for Binance. Skill sets, what do you do, what are you passionate about, what are you good at? So those conversations, I focus on hiring. I don't look at projects myself. It just takes too much time. Looking at a project takes like at least 5 days, if not a few months. I don't have time to follow that to follow too many projects.
Definitely, this is great, AMA. Thank you, Suzy, for your insight and answers.
All right, thank you guys. Yeah.